team building exercise, which is about artificial intelligence. And this is what I think about it. Team building exercise! The old smut peddler was a big computer whiz in the 1970s. You couldn't call him a hacker since he'd stopped being a hacker before the term was coined. As a childhood maths prodigy, an all-county Scrabble champion, he had easily landed a prime assignment one day back in the 60s or 70s when his dad got a call from a top boffin about a secret research program where he could put his talents to the public good and he could avoid the tedium of going to university just to have it rubber stamp his already mad skills. As it happened, the unit was housed in 3 tar paper shacks in a secret shanty town in the paddock adjoining a prestigious university. This was the Paleolithic era of computing, when the machines were mainframes the size of big rooms. There were interconnected steel cabinets painted duck egg blue or institutional grey, sometimes khaki if they were ex-MOD. Sometimes the wind would rip through the tar paper walls of the machine shack, and if the rain got in, there would be a sudden shower of orange sparks, all the lights would go out, and everything would be lost. You'd lose all your code, because we didn't have any UPSs back in those days. That stands for uninterruptible power supply. Inspired by Joseph Weizenbaum's program called ELIZA, which simulated non-directive psychotherapy, the programmers were working on computer modelling of what they used to call mental illnesses. The unit had to be top secret and concealed from the intentions of pharmaceutical multinational companies who had a vested interest in suppressing their research to preserve their markets. But despite the precautions of the unit, they were subverted at every turn. Quickly, the hacker found celebrity with his razor-sharp insights into the alternative mindsets that were being monetised as mental illnesses. And after his first briefing, he'd been told to familiarise himself with the equipment, but instead had gone away and churned out a catatonia simulator written in the new and exotic dialect of BASIC. That stands for Beginner's All-Purpose Symbolic Instruction Code. Incidentally, that's not in the book, that's just a bit of bonus knowledge. Later, he surpassed himself and earned the esteem of his college with a simple function that could be added to any program to mimic the effects of coprolalia, which was later codified as Tourette syndrome. This function worked by piping all the standard outputs through a filter, which periodically added extra expletives or apparently random outbursts to sometimes crash the machine. Things started to go pear-shaped when some members of the team started experimenting with drurgs to better understand the altered states that they were trying to model. The effects of marijuana could be approximated by stealing machine cycles to run unnecessarily high-demand routines, which would do nothing but garble the output in occasionally entertaining ways. So he'd been fired with that ceremony after a unit exercise in the wilds of Dartmoor. 6 colleagues and his immediate superior had been packed into a transit van, and they were sitting in the car park in the belting rain when he suddenly jumped out and started running in circles around it, waving a convenient hatchet over his head, screaming, "I know exactly what I'm doing!" He was stark naked at the time, but to be fair, everybody else was, and they were all tripping their tits off. It seemed funny at that particular time, but in hindsight, it was a bit embarrassing. And the next time he showed up for work, all the huts had been torn down. There was only dead brown grass to tell him that he'd found the right place. It was too late, and it was now the wrong place. He didn't know what to do, so he signed on the dole, spent a couple of weeks pissing around, reading SF anthologies in bookshops. Soon enough, he ran into somebody down a pub who worked in a bookshop, and he offered him a job there. So he went on and took it. Right,